Is there another one? Hey, I have 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. When everyone please rise to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please, Marie.
Here.
Here. Councilman Jacob Cody.
Here.
Councilman Jerry.
Here.
Mayor Davis.
Here. Are there any additions to the agenda at this time? Changes? Do I have a motion to accept the agenda? Approve the agenda?
Make a motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, approval of last month's, last council meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the public hearing minutes, which dealt with, the turning over of the clinic, Platte Valley Clinic. Any questions on the public hearing minutes? Do I have approval of those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, on approval of the bills, we have deposits in an amount of $67,344.93. Accounts payable in the amount of $28,913.30. Payroll was $37,033.97. Transmittals were $109,937.75. Do I have a motion to approve the bills as noted?
I'll make a motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to correspondence, Marie.
There are, there's no questions.
Really? Okay, we'll move on to the next item of business. It's Wyoming Game and Fish.
Mayor Davis, members of the council, I'm Mark Kafat, the Habitat and Access Biologist here for Game and Fish. I'm here to kind of discuss the lake project that we're going to be kicking off here in April. That's part of the fish treatment that went on earlier in September. We're going to be looking to install a fish screen on the sucker ditch about 150 yards up from the inlet of the lake. The screen is going to be in place to try to eliminate and prevent the repopulation of the lake with white suckers and brook stickleback. We'll be putting in power to run ice eaters during the winter so the screen doesn't freeze over and cause large backup. And I'm around, and part of my duties will be to check that screen regularly and clean it of any debris that might clog it.
Any questions?
I don't think so.
I just noted that the power pole is, I believe, and I've got to look at a map closer, but I believe it sets on city property.
Mhm.
There's a 2-track that'll come down to, it's about 100 yards below where you cross going into the cemetery. And
Yep.
yeah,
Probably a little farther than that. It'll be below the culvert that takes you to Arnold's. So that the cemetery would be the culvert.
oh, that's the upper one. Okay.
Yeah, so it'd be between that last culvert that takes you back to Arnold's place and the lake, be kind of right in the middle of that.
When's the lake gonna be up again?
Hopefully by July at the latest, but we should be able to capture the bulk of all the flow that's gonna come through the spring. And we'll start that project in early April. It's all precast stuff, precast concrete coming from Cheyenne. We'll set it in place, set the screen in, anchor it, and there's a riprap fall out on the bottom so it doesn't erode away as it's going over it. It should take us, it depends where we're at with melt, but 2 to 3 weeks is what we're figuring with our statewide crew coming in. And then once that's set, turn water on and it'll start filling. And we'll do it as fast as we can, get as much back in there and get it outflowing through the wetlands and over to the treatment facility.
And will you fill it before you start stocking, or will you stock as you fill?
They could stock it now if they needed to or wanted to. There's enough water there that the fish would survive. They'll wait. My guess is midsummer is when they'll start coming in with fish trucks.
Are you gonna clean that ditch while it's dry or?
Mhm. Yeah, we'll clean it in there while we have the equipment around.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
Do I have a motion to go ahead and allow the Game and Fish to put this sucker trap in, I guess? Be the easiest way to describe it.
I'll make a motion. Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you want to let Mr. Compton know?
Yep, I'll call Bobby.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other items from the public? Okay, seeing none, council comments. Council have anything they want to say? I just want to bring up one thing, I've been getting a lot of attaboys for the way the guys have been handling the snow removal. People are pleased with the way the streets are, so we need to let the guys in town know that they've done a good job. Anything else? Okay, we'll move on to reports from department. And it looks like the town hall is first, and it looks like Stacy, you're up.
Mayor and Councilman, I'm Stacy Cribbins, and I'm a committee member of the Never Forget Park Committee. And I'm here to present 3 grant applications and request permission to submit these grant applications on behalf of Never Forget Park and have signed resolutions for each of them. First one is HF Sinclair grant. It's resolution 2023-06. It's for $25,000. And it is in the breakdown of that is for heavy equipment use and then landscaping and seeding. I don't know if you want to do this all at once
Is there
or.
a timeline on that?
Sinclair has a rolling deadline. They don't have a monthly deadline, so I don't know. I'm assuming that within a month of submitting that we will know on that one.
We can go through them one at a time.
Okay.
You want to read the resolution for this one?
I don't have the resolutions on hand. I think I didn't.
You have it, Marie?
I did.
Okay,
Sorry, I do.
okay.
For the purpose of HF Sinclair Community Relations Grant Application for benefit of Never Forget Park. Witness, whereas the governing body of the town of Saratoga desires to participate in the HF Sinclair Community Relations request to assist in financing this project. And whereas the governing body for the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, Wyoming recognizes the need for the project. And whereas the HF Sinclair Community Relations request program requires that certain criteria be met as described in the HF Sinclair Community Relations request rules and regulations governing the program. And to the best of our knowledge, this application meets those criteria. And now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, Wyoming, that a grant application in the amount of $25,000 be submitted to HF Sinclair Community Relations request for consideration to assist in funding Never Forget Park. Be it further resolved that Stacy Crimmins, Joe Parsons, Never Forget Park committee members are hereby designated as the authorized representatives of the town of Saratoga to act on behalf of the governing body on all matters relating to this grant or loan application. Dated this Tuesday, March 7th, 2020.
Do I have a motion to approve going forth with this application for grant?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay.
The second grant application is for Wyoming Community Foundation. And this grant is for $10,000. It is due March 7th or March 15th, and I believe the notification date is June. So that's why I'm trying to get these grants in as soon as possible, because hopefully we will be, when we get notification, we can just get going. That resolution is 2023-07. Resolution authorizing submission of an application to the grant and loan program on behalf of the governing body of the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, Wyoming, for the purpose of Wyoming Community Foundation grant. Whereas the governing body for the town of Saratoga desires to participate in the Wyoming Community Foundation grant to assist in financing this project. Whereas the governing body for the town of Saratoga, Carmen County, Wyoming recognizes the need for this project, and whereas the Wyoming Community Foundation grant program requires that certain criteria be met as described in the Wyoming Community Foundation grant rules and regulations governing the program. And to the best of our knowledge, this application meets those criteria. And now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the town of Saratoga, Carmen County, Wyoming, that a grant application in the amount of $10,000 be submitted to Wyoming Community Foundation for consideration to assist in funding Never Forget Park. Be it further resolved that Stacy Crimmins, Joe Parsons, Never Forget committee members are hereby designated as the authorized representatives of the town of Saratoga to act on behalf of the governing body on all matters relating to this grant or loan application, dated March 7, 2023.
Question? Discussion? Do I have a motion to move forward with this grant?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
And the last grant application we have is for the Laura Jane Foundation, the amount of $35,000. Not worth my time. It's for the environmental initiative. They have different program categories. And this one is a pretty extensive grant application. I did need letters of support, and I received letters of support from American Legion and Town of Saratoga. I'm hoping to get a couple more letters of support before the March 15th deadline. They're in the works. And I did include some budget information. So I have the Parks and Rec budget and the overall budget for the town. The focus of this particular grant is on sustainability. So they wanted to know a lot of information about financial sustainability, how much it was going to cost to maintain and that type of thing. And also because it's environmental, what kind of plantings and how we were going to sustain the native flora and fauna and that type of thing. So that is resolution number 2023-8 for the purpose of Laura Jane Musser Foundation Environmental Initiative Grant Application for benefit of Never Forget Park. Whereas the governing body for the town of Saratoga desires to participate in the Laura Jane Musser Foundation grant to assist in financing this project. Whereas the governing body for the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, Wyoming recognizes the need for this project, and whereas the Laura Jane Musser Grant Foundation program requires that certain criteria be met as described in the Laura Jane Musser Environmental Initiative rules and regulations governing the program, and to the best of our knowledge, this application meets those criteria. And now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, Wyoming, that a grant application in the amount of $35,000 be submitted to Laura Jane Musser Foundation Environmental Initiative for consideration to assist in Never Forget Park. Be it further resolved that Stacy Crimmins, Joe Parsons, Never Forget committee members are hereby designated as the authorized representatives of the town of Saratoga to act on behalf of the governing body on all matters relating to this grant and or loan application dated March 7, 2023. And this one also should know by June. Yeah.
questions? Do I have a motion to proceed with this grant application?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. I'd like to just add that if anybody would like to volunteer to be on the committee, we don't have regularly scheduled meetings. But if you contact me or Joe Parsons or the mayor, we can invite you to the next meeting. Also, just as a overview of the project, if everything goes according to our plan, the curb and gutter is happening this spring. We will be requesting volunteers from the town. The committee will be making Gabion baskets with tops on them for the benches so that we can use river rock within these benches and then Tyvek seating so that they're low maintenance, but also by utilizing volunteer labor and the river rock, we have cut down on our expenses. The SCR Conservation District will be planting all the trees and shrubs, and they will need volunteers as well. But they will have that part of the, they will have a Saratoga Elementary School Arbor Day kind of program. But of course, more volunteers would be needed there. And then, of course, we'll be utilizing a lot of the town streets department, heavy equipment crew for doing various grading and installation. So let me know if you have any questions. And
What have you looked into for the sprinkler system?
we have not bid that out or talked about any contractors yet. So we are needing to do that.
That's not drawn up or plotted or anything.
No. We hope that we have a contractor that is expressed interest in doing the hydro seeding and hopefully at cost, but the irrigation is still not settled yet. Any other questions?
I'm gonna move something forward on this, dealing with Never Forget Park. And it was briefly discussed at the last council meeting, and it was a proposal from WLC. And everything in the park has been broke down in like 5 stages. While I was at the last meeting, I kind of thought it needed to be changed a little bit. You know, if you're gonna put curb and guttering in, you might as well put the roads and the sidewalk in too, because that entails all your handicap access. Plus a certain drain where you enter the park over here off of Pick Pike Road. And plus it'll hold the curb. You know, if we just put a curb and guttering up there, I'm afraid that it'll be over time that the curb will start falling down. We won't get back to it. So I propose that they try to do the curb, the guttering, and the grade work and pavement all at once. So to do that, the way it'd been all laid out in the engineering firm WLC, it was set up in stages. So for them to do, they're going to have to combine these stages. So you've got one plan, and that's where the $7,000 come in from WLC, was to put that together in one plan, and that'll be led as one bid. As far as them monitoring that, they will, they have a whole scope of work they'll do. They'll be over here every day during the project, which they allotted 30 days to do the project. They'll do all the soils testing, all the concrete testing. They will set all the staking, put everything to grade, make sure the contract follows the grade. Any imported material, they'll have to do a Prosper on it to get the right compaction on it. They'll do all the compaction testing and all the asphalt testing, and that's where the $42,000 come in. Now, as far as having somebody just local look over it, there'll be a council member or the mayor will be involved with this to make sure that they're doing their job, but that's where the $42,000 come in. I did do a little research. I contacted a local company here, engineering firm in town. And what they told me was that usually when they monitor a project like that, it's usually 10% of the cost. Well, I hope this doesn't cost $400,000. And I don't know until I see what they put together as a plan. And, but they didn't think that the $42,000 was too far off. That was from contacting one engineering firm. So I did do some follow-up research on that. But that is what I would like to see done rather than try to do it in 4 or 5 different stages. I think it'd be better off at least getting the initial outline of it done all at once. Then you could probably do some of the work on the inside. There will be no redigging of the pavement. All the main water lines and main sewer lines that we would need to tap into for a restroom that'll be built there later is all within the inside of the park. So you could do stub ups and have them ready and move forward from there. That was my idea of going first. So it's open for discussion from the public, from everybody.
Chuck, I'd like to address that because I'm the one that questioned the $43,000.
Okay, sure.
It would be my professional opinion that way too much engineering in what should be a person. You have people on your staff that are capable of upgrading and supervising that project. I think concrete testing is a waste of time. I'm going to be critical of all engineering firms. Okay,
Mhm.
guys that I worked with a long time sitting right beside me.
Correct.
So, those things are really unnecessary for the, in my opinion, for the simplicity of the project. And maybe if they're gonna come down here every day for 30 days, then it's gonna be worth $40,000. I just don't see that degree of difficulty in that work that someone like John Laxville or Chuck McVeigh can't oversee that. As that process is going on. We're seeing so many things here where between the engineering fees and the studies, we're not getting anything done. And if they're taking government money and they have to have an engineer and put it out for bid, and some of those things are mandatory, but they add a lot of cost to the project.
Sure.
This project's been going on for a long time. And you're not building a parking lot, you're not building the community center. You're building a park with a little bit of curb and gutter and a little bit of paving. It's just my opinion. When I said it last time, I think we have the people in our community that can do this without spending $50,000.
And I agree to a degree with you, Randy, that this has gone on way too long. And to a degree, yes, but when you get into soils testing and compaction testing and everything, we're gonna have to bring those people in. And if we're gonna do it, we might as well do that part right. With the compaction testing and gradations and with the gravel and all that. Now, personally, I agree. They have spent way too much money with engineering firms on this Never Forget part. There's no doubt. But there's a little more entailed. Have you looked real close at the plans?
I've never seen the plan.
You've never seen, go figure that. There's a map of it kind of right here. And I'll pass it around for everybody to look at. There's some parallel parking off of Big Pike Road that they'll have to dig in and cut in. Really old one. It can kind of give you the idea. Want to look at it? This is the curve of the other. Now, this was the very first line where the land block was involved. We did away with that. There'll be a solid curve all the way down. Back up the river. There's a gradation box here. Over here, this isn't here, there's a pipe that's in here that they'll have. For the gathering room, these are handicap ramps. And this will all be second grade basketball.
I've never seen that. I don't know if it's ever been in the paper or been presented to the public. At all.
It was put on a website, I think, was about it.
Rendering well. VLC drawing.
So, I mean, this can be put off longer if people want to see the plan. Maybe that'd be the best thing to do. Put it out, but it does entail a little bit of, it'll entail some grading, some importing of gravel, some taking out of rock. I don't know if you'll be able to use.
I understand the process. I'm one of
Yeah.
the people that understands the process. I want to thank you for hearing me. I know this has been going on a long time. The young man that was killed went to school with my son. Okay, so I'm very familiar with that part of the project. I hate to see $50,000 when I sit and listen to Stacy going through all these grants that wind up with about $70,000. I'm gonna spend $50,000 on engineering. And but thank you very much.
You know what, and I agree with you 100% there. It's been going on too long. That's why I'm trying to push it forward. I'd like to get it out of our hair.
I agree, it needs to move forward, it needs to move forward right now.
Thank you. I appreciate your input and looking at it too. And I'm open for comment from the council. Yes.
I totally support and agree with Randy and everyone that's shared this frustration that's been going on through how many town council people. I mean, this is the third or fourth set of council people that have worked on this. And again, you know, just logically and practically, that you think, well, what is the seed and what it, you know, a park, seed, some trees, shrubs, a bench, and how much does that cost? Of course, there's certain little engineering, but again, it's all frustrating and we're just asking for some expedited.
With the street and the parking lot, the grade probably is the most important part. The way it's all laid out in the grade.
So to add on to what Gina just said, this is a point, I think this council needs to do some action to show the town that we're doing things. I think that's the most important thing, more important than money, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, I
But on the-
understand that.
But on the other hand, we should be able to take $70,000 and make a nice park out of it. So I do think something has to be done, and I think the credibility of the council, just my opinion as someone who's been here for a little over a year, I just think it's important.
And that's my goal, is to move forward on it. I said that in part of my campaign. It's just, Randy brings up a good point. Where do we draw the line on the amount of engineering that we? You know, I don't have the total. I should have brought the total in that's been paid to WLC. The plans have been changed how many times, Stacy? Yeah. But this is one of those projects and I think Randy would agree with me. You don't want to do that part in stages. It needs to be done at once,
I agree.
you know? So it hinges on the council. You know, Stacy is.
What's your thoughts on it? What do you think? Move ahead with it like this or look at it some more?
I don't have that with me either, but I do think that putting it all together is really important and we should go ahead because we don't want to miss being able to put it out to bid and spring working. I will also do a press release and put the project budget in that, and just as our committee has been working, the project budget is $745,000. And that that includes the amphitheater and the restrooms, which are phase 4. So we still have things phased so that we can raise money as we go. But for phase one, which is the curb and gutter and the sidewalks and the backfill and the electrical and irrigation. I mean, it's substantial part of the project. And to date, we have $275,000 raised. And so the committee's thought is that we spend whatever money we can that we've already raised. Community sees the project immediately because there'll be work done. And then donations will be easier to receive. And we also have some pledge donations, but they are waiting for visible action on the part. And so we still have a long ways to go. That's why I'm writing grants, and I still have 4 or 5 that I'll be writing in the next couple of weeks. But by phasing out things, hopefully we can in phase one do the curb and gutter because we have the money.
Which phase one would include the pavement and the grading, and there's a couple of low water pans that they're putting in and everything. And we were with Stacy at the last meeting, and it was brought up, if they put a bathroom in like this, you know, and that's what they're looking at, there's a lot of money tied up in that. But I think if we can get over that hump and get the outside of it done, and things will move faster. I haven't seen the one with the amphitheater in it.
Well, we just kind of, the amphitheater design is not done because
Oh.
we didn't think it gets
I've never,
financed.
you know, one thing about it, once we get over that hump of getting this first part done, the engineering should, I mean, to the inside, you guys can build it the way you want it. I mean, as far as putting in irrigation for that, you're gonna hydro seed, you know. Maybe that's not the way to go. Maybe I ought to look at sod. I don't know. But if we can get this outside done and where you can work on the inside, then the volunteer work can come in. The outside, it's hard to get, you know, you're gonna have to either have city people do it or a contractor do it.
If we get the framework done, then between volunteers and some people that are willing to do things at cost, we should be able to get the interior part of the park. And then the restrooms are estimated at $125,000. And so that's why it's on the last phase, and just see what happens. I mean, the restrooms and the amphitheater may not get done for a while, but we gotta get going, so.
So it's up to the council on how they want it. We can,
And I'm kind of like you, Randy. I'm kind of old school. It's like get grader, get stuff done. But you got to realize our city guys are doing everything else, you know, and they're not people that cut grade every day. That part, I think, needs engineered or somebody to set grade on it from the streets and stuff. You know, if we want somebody else to overlook it, I don't have a problem with that because they're qualified to overlook a job.
and you know, I don't necessarily think WLC has us over a barrel, but they do have all the drawings on this right now.
That's.
And I can request
That's
it.
not a bad fee, in my opinion, for the things they're going to do. My question is, are we required to do all of these little phases over a period of 30 days? In my mind, it's not that difficult for us. In my company, we do this kind of work every day, every day. It's not that hard.
You know, I'd love to get turned loose with a laser and everything over there. But I know what you're saying. And it just seems like, you know, it does seem like a lot of money spent on engineering firms and for what? For a stack of papers and.
No, from my perspective, I'm what's the $250,000 project. $50,000. That's 20%. Okay, so $50,000. What is our 10%? So $500,000 to do that? We've got $500,000 to find and to do that little bit of work there. And we do need to review this. Okay, and I'd be more than happy to help. I'll just step up, okay?
Yes, sir.
First question. You're wanting to get the curb and gutter done around the outside, and now you're wanting to tie in the pan and the pavement and everything along the front on Big Pike Road, at least that part. And as I understand what you're saying, and it's saying in this handout, I've got $135,000 to do that curb and gutter. Is what I see here for curb and gutter and sidewalk. And there's $275,000 been raised. Is that where the 135 is coming out of? Is that out of that 275, or is the town itself? It's the town's property. The town, since they own that piece of property, in my opinion, as a citizen as well as a reporter, my concern is you, the town, we, the town, you, the representatives of us, should be putting in that curb and gutter along Big Pike Road. Now, the stuff around the back, you can do something else with that, but right along that front, you guys should be taking it out of your money and paying to have that curb and gutter and sidewalk. And my understanding is there's not going to be a sidewalk in previous plans because of the water lines and sewer lines and all the other thing. And you've got people, I drive up and down that road almost every day, and I'm dodging people because there's no place for them to walk. So they walk in the street. So you're going to as I understand this, you're going to if you don't put in a sidewalk, you're permanently putting those people in my driving lane as I come around that corner going to the recycling center. So those are the questions I've got, is who's paying for that sidewalk on town-owned property? Why do we need to raise money rather than using taxpayer money and street and pavement money, whatever's?
It's a combination of money, okay? Some town money and some donation money. It's not all their money. It's not all donation money. Some of it is the town's funds. They budgeted, excuse me, Marie, how much
$100,000.
of town's money to go towards this park?
How about directly answering my question?
I did.
Oh, well, you did part of it, yes, but should the town, as the owner of that property, if the guy across the street was putting in curb and gutter, he'd have to pay for it, the guy with the RV park. So why aren't you, the town, representative of the town, we the people, why isn't the town paying the total cost of putting in sidewalk, curb and gutter on Big Pike Road from the old railroad grade down to the entrance to the parking lot?
Yes.
Clearly. Not buried in this $275,000 that's been being accumulated over the last 12 years in its projects.
I guess you could pull that any way you wanted out of there. But the town is contributing to this project. Now, do I know where every nickel is going to be spent over there? Probably not. Probably nobody in here could answer that. But the town is putting in a portion to this. So yes, the town is paying for some of that, if not all of it, along Big Pike Road.
But you as the owner you as the representative, the owner of the property, are totally and completely responsible to pay up curb and gutter when you do curb and gutter along that road.
That's not the way it works. It's the landowner of the land. When you develop land, the developer pays for all that.
The city is developing it.
Well, then the city assumes the maintenance on that when it's done. Same way with water lines, same way with sewer lines. The city doesn't pay for them outright. But it is the city's land.
We own the land. And yes, we are contributing to that. Do I know if the full amount? That may only be a $50,000 portion. we're contributing $100,000 at this time. There may be more in the next budget year. So yes, we are contributing to that along Pick Pike Road. I don't know any other way to answer that.
And if the city owns it, who owns it? We all own it.
Yeah. George,
Everybody that's paying taxes owns it.
And tax money should be used to pay for the curb and gutter along that piece of property, that one block area.
Everybody $100,000.
it's not even a full block area.
Every dime of it, not any of the rest of this money that has been donated to Pickett Park for the grass and the landscaping and the memorial. In my opinion.
And we are paying for it. You know, I don't know. They're not going to break it down that way where we know exactly that the town is paying for that piece of curb and gutter. We may be paying for that and more. You know, yeah, we could charge up more engineering fees and I could have them pull that out separate and we could bid that and pay for that. I mean, how else do you want me to explain it?
To me, it seems fairly simple. The city lets a contract to somebody to put the curb and gutter in on Pick Pike Road. Not the stuff around the backside of the, that's immaterial.
It's not in
The town,
No, how can it be? It's all, we're putting curb and guttering around the whole park. And that's all city property. It'll be all open to the public for driving on.
you're splitting two pieces of city property in part on the backside. Yeah, between you and the doctor, you've got to have some kind of a boundary there, but I'm just concerned about
Pick Pike Road, you know, you can't break it down that way if you're gonna go to a bid. That would be two separate projects if we're looking at it. The way you want to do it, that would be two separate projects. That means I would have to get an engineering firm to break that down again and pay for that cost, and that would be a separate project.
and you're probably correct. Now is too late. 12 years ago, when the city bought that property, the city has been, in my opinion, as a citizen, has been negligent in not having a sidewalk for those citizens, those guests of the doctor at the resort to walk on. And that's not your fault. I understand.
I have a question for you. What's the difference in driving over there than driving to your house? Is there a sidewalk for them to walk down to the ball fields? Okay,
Because Chuck Bartlett said, we don't do curb and gutter and sidewalks in this town.
and we don't.
It's not required.
So
But that is a very busy place with all the people
Branches.
streaming into town.
So is the ball field when the little kids are playing softball too, probably busier than that. Hey, you know, I'm just trying to be logical in my line of thinking, and we don't have mandatory sidewalks in this town. So. Yes,
I have one question with this too, like, the lady that got the ADA law, the American
disability.
Disability Act, passed away 2 days ago. She had polio, you ought to read it sometime. But the thing is, as we start to bring the city out of the centuries to more modern, even with this street project, there were people in wheelchairs. We're trying to sell the city as for seniors. We have a new hospital on that, so I think we're doing the best we can. But I would think if you see, like that Jackson Hole had probably one of the world's most famous parks. We all know it. It's got the Elkhorn and everything. People flock to it. And Veterans Island, as growing up like Jerry and me have, it was a heck of a park to play in. We used to swing off a rope into the river. And I don't know of any other town that has an island for a veteran for part of it. And I believe this is unfinished business, this piece of it that you put on along with John that put the bridge over to the hot pool now. Yes, I understand about the resort and all that. I used to have people walk all the way from the resort, all the way down to by my car wash over to the park. They can now go over the bridge. It needs to be completed. The cost is gonna be there, but I think once it's done, this town will have a park for the veterans and for the other vets that passed away, that people will go, whoa, wow, look at this. I think it's money, I know it's expensive, but I think it's money well spent. And it is better than spending it on a tree over here and a field or something.
Thank you.
So I would say, yeah, we're gonna have, it's growing pains.
So,
And the engineering, and like you said, when you do that, you gotta be paid with, put it in wrong. I was up at the pavilion at the history, I've been working up there at that museum that we put in 30 years ago. And we've been fighting tree roots and everything else, and it's costing some money to correct this. But we're trying to make the pavilion look, wow, it's something for the town. So yeah, the money's, gonna be there and how we spend it, but the city is not responsible for 100% of the cost.
hey, I think we're kind of getting off the point here
Well,
over with his question. Okay, yes, there will be curb and guttering over there. There'll be a parking spot alongside Pick Pike Road. Are you aware of that in the plans?
I've seen plans.
Okay, there'll be a parking area right alongside there. Then the park will be built on the inside of all this curb and guttering. What I'm asking the council tonight and with all this input is, do we want to pursue with WLC to do this? Or do we want to just get the plans and then go with somebody else possibly to monitor the project? We can do it in two ways. They want $7,000 to bring the plans in with all the grades and everything in it.
That includes survey.
The survey's done. It's been surveyed.
It's.
That won't include the staking, but that will include the grade works, the amount of fall that's from the park in the parking lot. Where all the curb and guttering goes and all that. That's what's included. Then we can go out, reach out to another firm, but I thought why keeping it with WLC is they will go to bid. They will be at the pre-bid meeting to answer any questions with contractors. They will, that's all part of their scope of work, including in this 42,000. I'm just asking the council what their feelings are. And if we want to move forward, if we don't, we'll back up and do something else.
I appreciate what everybody has to say and the input. Overall, we're trying to get a park put in. We've been working on this for 13 plus years. I looked over this design and construction services in this proposal. It seems reasonable. Their oversight includes plan revision, project manual, bidding services, construction services include contract admin, construction observation, construction survey, material testing. This is a reputable group, this organization, this company. And in my opinion, I think we move forward. Do this. We've got someone, I'm not saying that we don't have reasonable, knowledgeable, skilled people, but we are overworked right now. And we have a proposal right here that's logical, that's concise, and it can get going right away. So I move that we approve this and move ahead with this proposal with this group. I'm all for continuing.
Is that
continuing
an
this
official
and pursuing.
motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to move forward with WLC's proposal.
We have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we will move forward with it. Okay, now we'll move on to terms of appointments. And I come before the council. I have two appointments I'd like to make tonight. I would like to appoint Marie Christian as the town clerk. And I would like to appoint Karina Daly as the town treasurer.
I'll make a
Any
motion.
discussion?
Make a motion to appoint Marie as clerk and Karina as our new treasurer.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. You ladies, please step forward, one at a time. You raise your right. I state your name.
I, Maria Christian,
Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will obey and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming,
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming,
that I have not knowingly violated any law
that I have not knowingly violated any law
related to my election or appointment or caused it to be done by others.
related to my appointment or cause it to be done.
That I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
And that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Congratulations. You raise your right. I state your name.
I, Karina Bailey,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming.
and the Constitution of the State of Wyoming,
That I have not knowingly violated any law related to my election or appointment
that I have not knowingly violated any law related to my election or appointment
or caused it to be done by others.
or caused it to be done by others,
And that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next item of business. What we did is, I was approached by, Enberg Miller, Mr. Gary Steele, and, I would like to add them to our master service agreement. I'd like to accept their master service agreement. And, like we did with, Engineer Associates and North Fork Engineering. Are there any questions for Mr. Steele? He is present. Did I get a motion to accept his master service agreement?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, okay, Gary. Enberg Miller now has a master service agreement with this. Pre-LGLP renewal.
Is that time to renew the copy? Everything now for LGLT is online. And so with the motion, I can fill out the application for our liability insurance.
Any questions about that? I went through all that with Marie. As soon as they take ownership, well, I guess basically you have ownership of the clinic up there, and when they move out, we will probably, I'll give you plenty of notice. We will probably drop the insurance on that building and you guys will.
We have a draft proposal for the insurance and it will pick up the day that you
Okay,
So we'll have, as my understanding, the lawyers will sign, the title will come out of the title insurance company on that day. You drop your insurance, ours picks up, you drop whatever utilities you have, and we pick up.
okay.
So I think we have it orchestrated until something goes wrong.
Without the attorney. Okay, do I have a motion to go ahead and accept this renewal with LGLP for our liability insurance?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Maria, I'll let you take care of the next one.
So we are asking for a pay increase for our accounting clerk from $12 an hour to $15 an hour. She has agreed that she will be able to work full-time without benefits to help train our new treasurer and to help us catch up with our financial issues.
Which is going quite well. And you do have that in your budget?
Yes, I do.
Do we have a cap on hours, Marie? Just as needed or?
Currently she works from 9 to 4 with a hour lunch. So she won't be going over 40 hours a week. She won't be receiving any overtime.
I should phrase it different, cap, like total hours, or a time frame, or have we set some kind of milestone so we know we're ready to move
6
on?
months.
Okay. Up to 6 months?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to allow this person to receive a pay raise?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay. All right, we're done with Never Forget Park, so we'll move on to Cassell Professional Services. And this is something that I had Marie look into, and I'll let her explain it a little bit more, but we are getting our accounts in order, and we are getting close to having another audit done. And then we'll be able to move into 2022. What we want to use Cassell for is they're the ones that have this program, and I'll let Marie pick it up from there.
Their professional services will be able to go through our books in Cassell and to clean up all the modules through the general ledger. And to update everything and get us our trial balances that we need for our audit. So we spoke to them to see how much it would cost to help us out for a couple months. And they responded back with this number, $1,350.
And this, as far as I'm concerned, this is really needed. We have got to get on top of this. And like I said, we're moving really, really close. And this will be the closing point. If we get these modules, and each module contains, correct me if I'm wrong, each budget, each expenditure, revenues coming in, revenues, expenditures going out, takes care of all our Wildstar accounts where basically our reserve money is, building interest. So they will balance all these little modules with the general ledger. And they're waiting on one thing, the auditor is waiting on one thing to complete the 21-22 audit. 21, yeah, year 21 audit. And he's waiting on this trial balance sheet. That's all he needs. So do I have a motion to go ahead and accept Cassell's offer of $1,300 to do this work? And they'll work. The thing is the good part of this is they'll work with these guys while they're doing it. So they'll know the ins and outs of balancing each module. That's a good point of this. They will not be doing this on their own. It'll be a training session also.
Do we have the breakdown of this proposal, this $1,350? I didn't see it in the packet. So is it an hourly thing, a virtual assistance?
This was a quote of $1,350. If for some reason, they think that it's going to be more work, then it's $175 an hour.
I'm just interested in seeing what 1350 includes.
Oh, so that includes all bank recs, that includes balancing the modules to the general ledger. And I believe it includes, something about reconciling the, I don't remember quite exactly what it said, but it was.
Yeah, I can follow up with you. And it is virtual. It's all virtual, Marie.
Yes.
Okay. And they'll record sessions, so you can go back to them later if you've
I'm
given
not
them
sure
your step by step.
but
We could look into that just so that we have future resources and things to refer to. I'm good with, I'll make a motion to approve that. I'd like to have a look at the details.
Sure.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay. The next item up is a portion with the Randy Stevens. Act. And there was a proposal from the past council that was done. And they're looking at and the other council approved this, but they didn't have a dollar fee when they approved it for this company to look into it. And it's with, they're looking at it, putting in to see if the material there will sustain a 10-foot geotextile wall. They're splitting the engineering cost on this. What they're doing is they're going to come in and do soil samples, which should have been done day one if they're going to do all this, to see if it's even questionably done. The amount is split between us and Randy Stevens, and the amount is $5,200 for the town of Saratoga. What I'm asking is if the town wants me to, council wishes for me to sign this, which is the contract, or say enough's enough, whatever the council prefers for me to do. Any discussion on this? Open to the public.
5,200 is for the geotesting alone to see if this is a reasonable or viable.
See if they
option
can
to
do a
develop.
geotextile wall. Yeah.
And in my opinion, I think we just leave it hanging until something pushes us to do something. It's not a court mandated anything. Why do we want to spend the money to put a wall up?
Her past town attorney, whom we kept on to see this matter through, says it's involved with a consent decree that was dated clear back to 2011, 10 or 11. I would have to pull the documents up on that. And they said, we are still bound by this consent decree
To
to build this wall.
build this
Or,
geotech
no,
wall?
to make, I think it's actually talks about the alley and the wall and making it stable. Is what the consent decree states. It's all public record. It's in the courthouse.
Yeah,
I think, do you still have my copies of it, Mike?
probably.
You can come in and read it. It really,
I'm just wondering why we're liable to fix something we didn't do. We didn't dig it out. We didn't put the building up.
okay,
Unless we're forced to spend this money to fix this problem. Let the problem come to a head and fix itself through a lawsuit or,
go back to court then.
well, that's what
Well, okay, and I've done some research on this, and LGLP said what they told me, the attorney, when I finally got to be mayor and I could talk to one of them finally responded back, said that they're going off, Stevens' attorney is going off the consent decree saying that we need to do this. And that's why LGLP is not representing us. Because it's not a matter that they would represent, because they did their part when he was suing the town. They
So
did
who
their-
paid for that? The town paid for LGLP?
LGLP it's a local insurance company that all towns, cities and towns,
Municipality for liabilities.
It's our liability.
yes. So now this is going off a consent decree that was signed in 2010 or 11. I believe it was 11. And according to the past attorney firm, they're saying we need to abide by that consent decree.
And it says we gotta build 50% of a wall.
No, it's really,
We just gotta.
we
make
have
it safe.
to make the alley usable and make that safe for the public. And it's not all us.
Yeah.
It's supposed to come to, let's see, to do this. That's it. And then it goes back to, they looked at Gabion baskets. And then they looked at the sheet piling wall
I did the piling.
and it failed, you know, it was,
And what's this wall supposed to cost?
oh, they have no idea. They haven't designed the wall yet.
Sorry.
They're just seeing if this can be possibly done.
Is the town liable? Are we liable?
According to Jane France, yes, we are. To a degree.
I'd like for us to really confirm that if we're liable, then our liability pool should support us in this, right?
If we're being sued,
So
I don't understand their
we
explanation.
step in, I don't think that we should pay anything right now and make a decision on that today. I think we need to be clear on where the town sits here. It's been going on for years, but if we're liable, that's the purpose of a liability pool. So we step in if there's an exception because of this consent decree from years ago. What I've seen is a summary of all the court findings. And I don't see that we're liable. So I'm going to say, I'm not going to approve, or I'm not going to suggest that we pay anything until we're very clear. But I will say that if we're liable, I want to call liability pool, get a fine answer on that.
And when I talked to, and I can't think of his name, I've got the notes in my office. The LGLP attorney was out of Casper. He said when the judge ordered the consent decree, you're kind of entering into a contractual pattern with Stevens, and it takes him out of the picture.
Well, if that's the case, then I think all of us maybe would benefit from understanding that step by step, be clear, and involve the same attorney or our new attorney, or maybe look at resources to inform us.
Our
and
new
review all of
attorney,
our documentation.
Ms. Waldrop would have to opt out because her firm had represented Randy Stevens on another matter in the past.
If there's conflict of interest, she can recommend somebody, right?
If you want, if that's what the town, so if that's what this council.
I'd like
said,
another set of eyes on it personally.
So
And
did the old
extension.
attorney recommend this?
Yes.
Yes.
I've had a lot of experience with the local attorneys in the last year. And there are several
Are you, now wait a minute, are you talking Miss France or Miss Waldrop?
that, and Mr. Hicks Adderley, and also the attorney, Julie Edwards, and Mary, and the attorney for Excel. So I have a lot of experience in the last year, and what I would say is, I would support Kathy Beck, need another set of eyes.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see diving
Well,
in.
then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna
Figure something out.
call for a motion to pay this $5,200, I believe is what it was. I don't. Motion be made.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? Motion dies. I will talk to Ms. France tomorrow. Okay.
This was about drilling holes and stuff, wasn't it? Just to see what
For
would support.
testing.
Soil sampling.
Yeah.
Just- Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the police department. Mr.
Thank you very much. I apologize. I didn't make the last council meeting. Had some other matters I had to attend to. Business matter. So since the last council meeting, the police department fielded 151 calls for service. I'll got another report here that we'll start doing the first of the month that you would like, and that's I can give you a kind of a rundown or at least numbers of how many citations that were written during the previous month, if that is something that'd be helpful to you. With that being said, this is kind of something that we're trying out here with this DigiTicket, which is the computerized system that we have in our vehicles that we can put license or driver's license in and they'll feed the tickets. So there were 38 citations, or excuse me, there were a total of 38, including warnings and citations, 14 citations and 24 warnings for various, from simple things like headlights out, things like that, up to speeding. We did, when the roads were closed, there were several citations that were the commercial trucks that normally don't come through here, coming downhill and into town. So we stepped up some enforcement during some of those times. The other thing that I had before the council today is that Carbon County School District number 2 has contracted with a company by the name of TAC One to provide some training to all the staff and even students as it relates to school shootings and response and things like that. This is since the school district has contracted them, we're going to be able to play a role in some of that training to see how the students are instructed, what they're instructed, and the staff as well. On top of that, since they're coming here, the company TAC One has offered to do a training for law enforcement specifically in this area. TAC One is a company that was actually born from the Columbine shooting down in Colorado. This is a company that its founding members actually were part of the response in Colorado. They've done training. It's a worldwide company. They've done trainings all over the world. It's a very good opportunity for the officers here locally, including the officers at the Saratoga Police Department to receive some additional training. Many of us have been through some form of this training, but training's never done. We always want to stay abreast of the newest, the best. And one of the things that they'll be hitting on is, I think a lot of you may remember last year they had the shooting down in Texas, Uvalde. This company has kind of dissected that, saw some of the failures, and we'll be focusing on some of those things. The training doesn't come cheap. It comes at the expense of about $350 per officer. However, in talking with one of the mains of the company, Mr. Joe Didon, he has offered to basically we're paying for 3 spots. That will get the 5 officers, the 4 full-time officers and 1 part-time through this training. So it'd be a cost of $1,050. This is not something that was previously budgeted for. And speaking with Mayor Davis and Marie, I believe that there's money there and there's some other money coming in that may be able to cover this, but it is technically not in my budget at a particular point in time. But I would hope, ask that the council may approve this so we can get this training done, because I do think it is really a very good opportunity to have a top-notch company right here. We'll also be training with law enforcement from really all over the county. Sheriff's Office, Rollins Department, Wyoming Highway Patrol, I think that there was an offer made to, Game and Fish, I was told there was, so. Medicine Bow, Hannah doesn't have an officer anymore. I'm not sure if Kevin Shue's gonna be able to go or not. Unlike Uvalde, where in the first hour or so, they had over 200 officers show up in that response. We don't have that luxury here. So the ability for us all to get together and train together on such an important matter, I think is a good thing, a very good thing. So I'll leave it up to the council at that.
I have one question, sir. Could you also include, volunteer fire department or search and rescue or something in that?
The training that they're having, there is some, my understanding is there's some public aspects is this as well. Now, the training that they're going to offer law enforcement specifically is tactics. And really how to go in and take care of the situation.
So we don't end up like we did in Texas with tanks in there and wouldn't even go in.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, if I could touch on just that for a minute, I think we're fortunate enough here. The law enforcement has a much different mindset here, because when we're asked to respond to situations like that, there's not a lot of backup. So I mean, right from the get-go, we know that there might be a point in time where we might be the only person there, or backup might be an hour away. So I think that we're fortunate in that respect, because we just have a little bit different mindset. But it does.
And we do have 2 county officers that are south.
We do have 2 county officers that are right here. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Come in.
Yeah. 3 actually.
As long as they're not like.
Somewhere else. Yeah. And then you get a call like that, it truly is all hands on deck. I mean, I was kind of brought up, and I want to instill that in the officers that I work with. If you hear somebody that needs help, and I'm on the radio or listening to the radio and something's going down in Rollins that I think I might be for, head that way until I know otherwise. Another way I was brought up.
Even as a captain.
Absolutely. And when we had the big accident up on the interstate, the 40-aught car pileup, a call went out. It was an all hands on deck. I mean, we had fire departments from Medicine Bow, Rock River, Elk Mountain, Hannah. I believe Rollins was kind of on standby. Guys here, law enforcement, Medicine Bow, Hannah, the sheriff's office.
But I can see your point, because for the town, the school that there's 2 officers on duty during the day, during the school.
At times, yeah.
And there's only 2 years. I don't know how many kids there are, teachers, staff, janitors. And for you guys have to sit there and hold the bridge or deal with it until backup. I totally agree. I think 350.
Well, that's one of the things.
It's a small cost to pay compared to if the realism came in to where something did happen.
And really worked out right now. You don't wait.
No.
You absolutely go address the threat, whatever that.
And there's only 2 of you, so not much to hope for.
Correct. With that.
And you guys not do the training when you, in your initial training to be a cop? You not do any tactical?
There is some, yes. Yeah.
How much is it?
Specialized.
How much is the training?
The cost of this,
Yeah.
$1,050 for the 5 of us.
Oh,
$350 a piece, but they're giving us a break. And essentially we're just paying the cost of the officers.
oh.
If you've never, people that have never been through this, my past, I have, this is pretty intense training. You go to the noise, you go to the person. And it's not walking either, but that's the way you're trained. It's pretty intense training.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Do you have a motion to go ahead and allow this training to be done for the police department?
I make motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we'll move on. Mr. Wallacer with the fire department. Thanks, Stacy.
We had a meeting here, was the first part of the week. I know, Mayor was at that meeting with, for Black Hills, Energy, trying to get some stuff resolved with the response, on gas leaks and all of that stuff. We've got another meeting scheduled, hopefully within the next month to follow up with that. Black Hills is supposed to do some stuff on there, and we're supposed to try to do a few things on our end and kind of meet in the middle. Hopefully we'll get something accomplished with that. We had our banquet on Friday, had a pretty good turnout for that. We had 5 guys that got recognized for years of service. We had Craig James, who's been on for 10 years, Joe Johnston's 10 years, Tyler Christian's been on for 10 years. John Ellis and Marco Sturgosa both have been on for 5. So it's kind of nice to have some guys with some years under their belt. So this Thursday, we're supposed to be meeting with ISO to go over our ISO rating with them and stuff. We've got the guys have been working pretty hard to try to get all the stuff done with that. I know Morris has had some stuff to do with it, and I know the town, I think Chuck's had some stuff to do with it too.
I believe I finally got Creed everything he was looking for.
It's a pretty in-depth process to get done. So, but it's in the best interest for the town and all the residents and everything. So, other than that, we're going to have our 100-year anniversary get together this summer. I think we're looking at July 22nd at the community center. So there'll be more to come on that. So, but other than that, that's really all I've got.
Do you have anything to ask the council for? Do you need anything? Can we do anything?
So not at this time.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thanks, Pat.
Can I ask a quick fire department question?
Sure.
Real quick. Over at Third and Hugus, my fire plug is peeking out of the snow. Little yellow top peeking out of the snowbank. Whose responsibility? Yours, mine, theirs?
Ours. We are working on that now.
Okay.
They're going around town cleaning out fire hydrants. And
They just cut the hill down up there by me today.
yeah, this has been quite a year for that. So, but we are working on it.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the rec department.
Mayor and council members. I'll start with my action items for this council's meeting. I'm here to request a new pool pump for the swimming pool. Inside your packet, I have 2 different quotes that I gone out and gotten for that. One is for the Pentair. They're both for the Pentair variable speed function pool pumps. This will help circulate the water through the heating exchange and then back into our pool. So we can continue to have a heated pool. With changing this pool pump out to a variable speed pump, it will allow for the not so hot pool to remain at a lower temperature throughout the summer months. Right now it gets pretty hot, and that is because as that water goes through that exchanger, it just gets pushed fast out into the not so hot pool. If we get the pump that has the variable speed, it will control the flow of the circulation. So we can slow that water down and get that heated for our pool, but not so hot in the hot pool and the not so hot pool. So I'd like to request a motion from the council for this Pentair pool pump for a total of $3,125. That is the lowest quote that I found, and that is through Shively Hardware here in town. And that would also include the shipping and handling.
Does it include installation, Sarah? We have
our streets crew.
our guys can do it.
On for her,
That was through Shively's.
through Shively's, yes.
I'll make the motion to buy the pool pump.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Carried. Okay,
Next, in your packet, I have a special events application for the community center, the Chamber of Commerce to co-sponsor a color run, 5K and half-mile kid run with the town of Saratoga Rec Department. The date that we would like to host that is April 15th. So we'll start at the Flat Valley Community Center parking lot, and the most likely route will be going up Elm Street and then circling through either the football field or the school parking lot, and then coming back down and just making that loop until we get that 3.1 miles in. If we shorten that run up and just do the loop, it will decrease the amount of volunteers that we need for the chalking and the road closures.
question?
No.
Discussion,
No.
motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the request for the
I'll second it.
special permit.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay,
We would like to continue advertising for the pool manager position until March 24th, which would give us time to conduct interviews and select hire by the first April meeting for the town council, so we can get them hired on and get them sent off to training for CPO, lifeguard, and water safety instruction. I currently have the one application in for that. I'd just like to continue advertising to see if we can get some more interest.
Marie, can we get that posted? We've got it on Facebook right now for the rec department and
just flyers in the gym.
yeah. Could we get it on our site, on the website, the town website? And do we have an account with Indeed or the workforce services? If we can just get it spread out a little bit, a couple of weeks. When does it close? 24th?
The 24th of March.
And we can use the description that you've got. I think that's enough information, and then contact information. So will you follow up with Marie and get her the right info, and is that feasible?
For services?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it does cost.
Well, indeed, I think you can put a cap on it, right? For a number of days, run it. So,
It's $35 per application.
okay. So maybe we just discuss some details and spread the word a little bit, just for a couple of weeks.
And I'd also like to continue advertising for lifeguards through the end of April. I spoke with the Rollins Aquatic Center, who's trained our lifeguards from last year. They will be opening up their lifeguard training in April and May, probably. She said that they could also make special accommodations to train our staff for us.
How many lifeguards, do you have any coming back?
I have 2 that have contacted back. I have and then another one on a part-time as needed basis. So 3 total returning that I've shot with. I would like to get at least 9 lifeguards this year, plus our pool manager, so 10 total to extend the hours.
And the season.
And the season.
We need a motion on continuing advertising.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay,
Currently, our hours of operation in the gym have changed for the month of March just slightly. We will be closed. The back gym and the weight room will be closed on Wednesday nights through the month of March due to shooting sports. It will be shooting archery, and for safety purposes, it will be best just to close that building, or that's half of the building off.
just on Wednesday night, so
Just on Wednesday nights during shooting sports. And other than that, our gym is open still. The non-members Monday through Thursday from 9 to 12, closed on Fridays and weekends. Members, we're open Monday through Thursday from 5 in the morning to 8 p.m. On Fridays, we're open from 5 in the morning to 3 p.m. unless there is a school activity or a rec department activity in the gym during those open hours. We have roughly 75 members of the gym and weight room. And during our open gym hours, that we have posted. So that's Monday through Thursday from 6:30 to 8:30. The weight room facility is not open to non-members. It is only the gym portion that is open to non-members. So that just needed to be clarified a little bit. The community center has the cameras in full. Were installed last month. They are now up and running fully, so we have access to those 24/7. Our fitness classes, we have no changes in what we offer, except the Latin, Middle Eastern, and dance classes have now moved to their venue. They are now going to operate out of the Platte Valley Martial Arts Dojo Studio. For youth and other activities that we have going on, youth basketball is in full swing right now. We have 106 participants, 12 teams, and roughly 35 volunteers. And I have to say thank you to those volunteers. That is a lot of time commitment for the youth that they give. And more often than not, the volunteers in town are the same volunteers that volunteer for multiple things. So I commend those volunteers. We started games this week. Practices will move just to the 1 day week, and we'll start games 1 day a week for each team. We hosted a derby car race with Pastor Gene Smith on March 1st, and that had a decent turnout. And our adult rec league volleyball tournament is currently going on as well on Monday and Wednesday nights. We'll start bracket play and finish up March 15th on that. That's currently what we have going on right now.
Okay. Any questions for Sarah? No. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. We'll move over to Department of Public Works, Jerry.
We had problems with the restrooms freezing up at the hot springs. And part of it was the heaters shutting down because they were working so hard. Because the roof in there wasn't insulated and the soffits weren't in there, and when it got cold, it was freezing them up. We had them do blow-in insulation in the roof, spray foam. Coated all that. That's done, out of the way. So we got a bid on the heaters, and that is in the works. Got an electrician going to do that. And it was $500 a heater, which I think is cheap. That's installed. So I don't think we'll get them a whole lot cheaper than that. The spray foam, we saved roughly $3,000 by going with the guy through Craig. The gates that are mandatory. We got to do gates around there now, in and out, and gates on the wall that we got to put up. And we're trying to kind of do this in phases. They've done one gate, and they're working on the others. So that's what the roads had. The pumps that froze up at the wells was an issue of a heater kicking off because it was overloaded on the breaker. And we got bids on that heater and installation, and we were looking at putting another heater in there for a backup, but the wire run from well site to well site isn't heavy enough to run two heaters. We were going to put two heaters, one on separate breakers. So we're looking into the option of maybe pulling in different wires, or maybe just putting a new heater in and trying to seal the building up a little better. So lots of plowing, as everybody knows, and but everything else, has been going good. So I think that's about it.
Okay. I don't know why these two items are under there. They should be under planning or something, but
Planning commission.
Huh?
Planning commission, I wasn't sure.
yeah. So we'll just wait till we get down to that, and I'll take care of them there. So we'll move on to Community Joint Powers Board. Joint Powers Board.
Yeah, I don't have anything to report since that our last meeting, our last council meeting. Our next meeting is March 13th at 4:30 at the community center.
Okay. Anything from the Water Joint Powers Board?
We don't have anything new. We're supposed to meet tomorrow, but that's been put off till next week. And our meeting, was it gonna be the 22nd, I think, got put off due to the storm that we had, so,
Oh, that workshop?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So has that been rescheduled? Have you heard?
I didn't see a reschedule on that, but I could have missed that.
I didn't
Sure,
see
so.
one either. No. Okay,
Just to clarify, the water sewer joint power board meeting, will be March 15th then?
next, whatever next Wednesday is.
Yes.
6.
So, okay.
Okay, we'll move on to the planning commission. And yeah, there's nothing new. Well, there is one item to report, but under this, I received 2 building permits. One from the FFA boys. They're gonna redo their hog pen up at the school. And then I also received one from the Little League team for a new concession stand. These building permits, the one the FFA boys are doing totaled in the amount of $258.61. And the Little Leagues was in 153.25. And I brought this before the council. I'd like to possibly have these 2 building permits waived, since it's for a good purpose and for the kids. But, so that's what I'm asking for. It's open for discussion. Yes,
I just have one question, and I apologize, I've been here for a while. Have we secured a lease on the Woods Field? Last time I asked, we had no lease for it.
it's in the attorney's hands right now. Okay,
So just gifting this money then, right? Isn't that what that is? If we don't have a lease, now it's actually like all the money they spent last year is actually considered a gift because we had no lease under that.
well, at this point, I guess you could say that, Jimmy. Legally, yeah, but it is in the attorney's hands. She's drawing it up right now.
Okay, and for how many years?
They wanted to go 10, I believe.
Okay. We're investing how?
5 or 10, and why they chose that because there may come a question that, and I probably shouldn't. They talked about even donating those lots to the Little League program.
Right.
Okay. There was mumbling of it. Okay. So that's why it was a short-term lease. And I may be wrong. It may only be 5 years. Okay.
So when do we expect the lease to be done?
I was hoping it'd be done at this meeting, but it didn't quite make it.
Right.
But it is with the town attorney right now. Any other discussion on this?
So if we waive the cost of these building permits, is it essentially the town donating that?
There's no cost
Covering
here
that
really
expense?
for us anyway.
So we're just saying we
It's-
don't need to collect. that.
Basically what
It's
we
not, we're
collect
gonna
on,
cover it.
you know,
Collect a percentage of what it costs to build.
yes, low percentage. Randy, you're a contractor. What's your feelings?
I am in full support of you waiving those fees, no matter whether you call it a gift or whatever you call
Yeah.
them. I also would add that if you're worried about a collective fee from these children, there are anywhere from 10 to 20 jobs going on in this town any given day. You don't have building.
Correct.
So I see it as a non-issue.
Thank you.
Very well.
Yes. I'll make a motion to waive the cost of the building permits for FFA and.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. The next thing on the planning commission is, I just want to bring everybody up to speed a little bit on this. We had triple D, well, it's not triple D, but anyway, Brian Drake brought in a map and everything, a plat for a new subdivision and we have got, that's going to go back before the planning commission. That what they did is there's a checklist required of what you've got to present to the planning commission. And then it slowly moves forward in numerous steps. Well, he had everything for on the checklist, all documents and everything. But since then, I've done some research and I found a map and there's already a subdivision there. And it is platted. So I just found that out. I was finally able to verify that this evening. So that's going to end up back before the planning commission. And we'll see where it goes from there. But can it be changed? Yes, but there's numerous steps to go through to get it all changed and new platting and all that. It just can't be done overnight. So, yes, sir.
Like I said, I was gone. Do we have a date when the sealed bid is due?
When what?
I hear we're doing a sealed bid on property there along that property we're discussing.
The down lots.
Down lots.
It's just been kicked around a little bit that we was thinking about selling it.
Okay, so
It's not, no, nothing's never been officially discussed. You know, it's been discussed, you know, one-on-one with a couple of us.
okay.
But nothing's ever been. No, and I've discussed with other people in town and council needs to look at this in various ways. And this has always stuck with me because we're competing with people that also have land for sale to build on. So would that be right of the town to all of a sudden sell land with somebody else compete? You know, we're competing against people that's trying to make a living doing this. And so there's a lot of factors to be weighed out, you know, and one of them I look at is if we did decide to sell that portion of land, what basically all it couldn't be set aside for a green area. You know, I mean, it doesn't meet the criteria. The best thing to do with that land would be to build on it, house homes.
It's already subdivided.
Yes, yeah.
But
There's actually precedent in state law and actually Triple B's one of them that has used it where they have petitioned the town to sell. Block one, XYZ subdivision. And it has to be advertised and it has to go to public sealed bid, which is what Jimmy's talking about.
Yeah.
Oh,
They've actually done that a number of times. And I own a ton of real estate, undeveloped, or developed real estate, but unimproved. And I don't necessarily see that as competing against me. Because you will find that if you have any real value in your land, it will bring a fair market value or above.
mm-hmm.
And I personally, as a land developer, I don't have a problem with doing it.
That was just a thought I'd had. And then there's some other questions up there that was gonna be presented before the Joint Powers Board. And the biggest thing up there in that area where this new subdivision is sewer. And it's an issue. It really is. So there's a lot there to consider. I mean, I'm not against a new subdivision in town, but everybody's gonna play by the rules. Is how I look at it. And I think the council will agree with me on that. You know, that's why these ordinances were put in place and everything. So everybody should follow the same rule.
Yes.
I believe that is all on, well, no. I do have one more building permit and I might as well bring it up to. Some people are looking at building a house on Spring Street, West Spring. And I will be meeting with them hopefully this week, but there is not sewer available. So we'll go into what the ordinances say on sewer and we'll go from there. That'll come back probably before the planning or before the council on that. This building permit will. So. Okay, moving on to Recreation Commission.
Okay.
No, this is a different one. There's two of them.
Oh, yeah. Permission. We have a couple of positions open, so if you know of anyone or if you're interested in joining the rec commission, you live here in Saratoga or you live outside of town, I've got a couple of positions. We've got a vacancy coming up here soon. This last meeting, we reported on a number of activities. Sarah shared some things that are going on. Thanks for those of you who came out for the winter festival. We had a great time. It was a cold day, but we had 150 plus people out there enjoying chili and popcorn and cotton candy. The rec commission worked with the Kiwanis. We partnered with us. They're an excellent group to partner with. And we discussed doing that more. We want to join forces and work collaboratively with some of our organizations and clubs and other folks in town in the future. We've got the color run coming up and a number of other activities slotted for the rest of the year. And we did send out that survey end of the year, third quarter last year. So we're going to revisit some of those and post some of that information, what the town has told us, and take some of those suggestions and offer some new opportunities. So we're open to suggestions, and feel free to contact me or contact Sarah if you've got any thing coming up. Pretty much it.
Thanks, Kathy. All right, we'll move on to the Airport Advisory Board. And we just have some unfinished bills and final payment on the last project they did. So Marie.
The first is a request for reimbursement for $5,661.32. This one's just for your information that it was sent to us for approval. And then the next more invoices are for Sage Civil Engineering, and they're all final closeout documents for the apron expansion project, seal coat and marking project, and entrance road and parking area improvement. All the RFRs for these projects have already been submitted. And so we will be receiving all the payments for them. We received some of them, and we're waiting for a few more to show up. But they should be coming in soon to our bank account for us to pay these invoices.
You have a total on those invoices?
We do not. I can do that for you.
It's not super important. Sorry to put you on the spot. Should have been the new girl's job.
Is $55,718.05.
Thank you. Any questions, discussion on that? Okay, we'll move over to the Emergency Medical Service Board.
We need to I'll make a motion to pay the invoices and the request for.
Shouldn't we bring them before an open council meeting? Or I guess we could do it now.
Got the invoices right in front of us, yeah.
We do have them in there, but okay, that's fine. I have a motion to go ahead and pay these invoices in a total of $55,718.05.
Motion.
No, I have a motion. I need a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, now we'll move on to the ambulance.
There are no new updates with the ambulance. The next meeting is March 20th at 6 p.m. in here.
Okay. Any new business to be brought before this council meeting?
I want to add one thing to Stephanie back for about. Regarding the letter that I sent from the landfill board involving municipality. And the press that we got from that, you know, the newspaper and the radio. We have gotten application to interested people to fill our board out this week.
Well, good.
So that part worked out really well, and so I would encourage anybody who's looking for board members, maybe sit down, because radio really did the best job for us. You might sit down with Matt and you need to do an action.
Maybe we can just do that with Mr. Matt. Thanks, Randy.
Thanks.
I was gonna ask you that if you'd got your board filled.
Just literally, Friday or Monday. But we're going with Pat's natural gas thing, so. Daycare is in the building that I used to own, and when that was put into a daycare, Elizabeth. Originally asked if they could use my new building as their emergency go-to place. It's been years ago. I said, sure, that's no problem. When I pulled up for work the other morning, there's a Suburban with 2 women in it, 4 little kids. Somebody had hit their gas meter at the building.
Oh.
And they called Black Hill, and Black Hill said, well, you need to evacuate. And Kelly sits on that board, and so she was very happy that they read their protocol was to go to my building. And so they came in and had hot chocolate and hung out for a while, and Black Hills within 30 minutes. And they didn't actually have a leak, it just must have plastic deal off the meetings. Adam Hims had been on his way to Rollins, and they turned him, sent him back. He was there. John W. Moore, a kid at the daycare. And came to get his kid, and he said, you still need the board meeting? I said, yes, I am. He said, well, I'll be happy to go. That's fine.
Well, good deal.
And we had already had another person applying, so.
That's good.
Yeah. I always have to tell them wrong.
That's okay. That was interesting about the daycare too, but that's pretty good response time, wouldn't you say, Pat?
Yeah, it helped when it's during business hours.
Yeah. All right, there's no further business. Does anybody need to go into executive session? Seeing none, I'll ask for adjournment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to remove executive session from our agenda and adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
Steel, I worked for PMP. Also, my disconnect my phone, so. Shortness of memory or shortness of mind or whatever, but I moved there, Sarah. And I just moved back and take care of family, take care of move back to Sherman. But
Are they sick again?
I'm nervous about seeing engineers.